This is Steve Bibby from the Lancashire Wrestling Federation, the LWF, and you are watching Stu's Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's time. Your host, Stu Palmer.
Mind if I tag along? Could you just take some time on me? I don't want to cause alarm, but I can't remember how to feel. Would you take me back? Would you take me home? I need a human touch, it's not my own.
This is the first of a few special episodes with my team WrestleMania UK brethren, and it's none other than 11-time attendee of WrestleMania, Tom Perrett. He's done the most WrestleManias, so we're drawing on his experiences travelling to America, doing the sightseeing in the different cities and areas we've been in America over the years as well. He's also done Survivor Series in Chicago about 3 years ago now. I think it was around 3 years ago. He went out to Chicago for Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble in 2017, where we had Cena versus AJ. They were in San Antonio for that, and he also says how much he loves San Antonio, one of his favourite places. They went to the Alamo and stuff of that nature. So yes, without further ado, my guest for episode 109 is none other than Yorkshire's finest son, Tom Perrett. Enjoy. This is a special look at some WrestleMania trips I've been on with my good friend and the guy who's been to the most WrestleManias in the group, Mr. Tom Perrett, all the way from Goole in Yorkshire today. How are you, Tom?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing, Stu?
Oh, good, man. Now, you know, you're the veteran. You've gone to the most events. Obviously, we're all over the UK, the guys that have gone over the years. But yeah, tell the listeners and the viewers about the first show you went to, the first WrestleMania. I think we'll go right back to the start, you know.
We're going back some years here. My first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Garden, so really what I want to start at, you know what I mean? My friend went to WrestleMania 18 a couple of years before that and said if the opportunity came up, would you go to WrestleMania 20? I said, yeah, if we can do it. We luckily got the tickets off eBay back then. We went and it was amazing. And it seems surreal, to be fair, like, you know, 'cause it wasn't as easy to get tickets back then. But what happened with the Chris Benoit thing, you know, a few years later, he was dead and everything. Eddie Guerrero and the Kurt Angle match. It was an absolute brilliant show, like, and I thought that was a one-off, do you know what I mean? But it led to more. But yeah, it was amazing.
It's mad, isn't it? Like the amount of times we were saying that this is the last one, you know, further down the line, and we kept going and we kept going. But yeah, how was it at Madison Square Garden? I'm assuming that was the first time you went to Madison Square Garden for WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not the greatest arena in the world, but it's just the history of it, innit, and the power of it. It just felt surreal. I couldn't believe I was there, if that made sense. It couldn't really sink in. You know, it was just, yeah, it's a really powerful building and that. And the setting was very good. And it just, yeah, it was generally a really good Mania. And it opened the door to many more, you know. It just felt surreal. What
were your favourite matches from the night? I've got an idea. I've got a rough idea of it. Yeah, the ones that stood out that still, you know, stand out today for you, with it being the first show as well that you went to, the first Mania. But I'm sure, you know, you could say about them all. You could say about them all. But yeah, just a couple for yourself that were really, really, you know, the ones that stand out to this day.
I think there was Christian versus Jericho was a very good match at the time. You know, you didn't realise how good it is when you look back. You know, at the time it just looked like a normal match, but that was an excellent match. But you know which one I'm going to say, the triple threat match at the end. That was one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Absolutely. I think overall it wasn't the greatest WrestleMania, but it was good for its moments. You know what I mean? But the main event, yeah, the triple threat and the significance of it with Chris Benoit winning was huge looking back now.
Moving on from 20, Tom, which was the next one you went to? Obviously, I know the answer to this, but the viewers and listeners don't know. So, yeah, where did you go? When was the next one after 20?
Yeah, I went again the year after, even though I didn't know if I'll go again. I got egged on, and the day the tickets come out, do you want to go? And I went, yeah, go on then. WrestleMania 21. Which I think, in my personal opinion, is probably the best WrestleMania of all time I've been to. In the smaller venue especially, but WrestleMania 21 was absolutely amazing. Opened the doors to many characters, like you saw the Randy Orton Undertaker match. You didn't realise how big Randy Orton was going to become. There was like Batista won his first title, though I'm not, you know, in his career didn't go too far after that, but it was significant. And the biggest thing of all of it was John Cena winning the title. I mean, it was his first one, won it against JBL. But I thought from
big moments.
finish, that was an absolute amazing WrestleMania.
Was it hard getting tickets for that? Obviously, Staples Center about 20,000. I bet that was quite tough because obviously we've gone to the big stadium shows, haven't we, in more latter years, so it's a lot easier to obtain. But yeah, you obviously got them directly? It wasn't another eBay job.
This one was also eBay. Yeah,
right, okay.
So it was only a couple of days off getting. You know, when the tickets went officially on sale, I couldn't get them because it was only 20,000. Like you covered there. But the soon went on eBay a couple of days later, and I thought, do I risk it or not? I thought, bugger it, I'll go. Brilliant.
And there was no issues. There was no issues with eBay at all. No, it was all legit.
No, I know some people that have had issues with it, but I was lucky enough. Fine. It was somebody from Japan I got them off. I think he just bought them just to sell, but it was 100% communicating with us and that, so it went well. But I was a bit nervous, but it worked well those times.
How long were you there for 21? Because I don't think I've ever asked you that in the 12 years I've known you. That's I'm like for questions. I'm like for asking things.
I couldn't get much time off work, so I could only go for 4 days. So it was just a long weekend. But it was different. I mean, I was only 20 years old. I couldn't drink there, and there's things I couldn't do there, but. Still, probably an amazing trip.
Yeah, amazing. I watched it. I watched it live on TV, but being there, as we know, is just amazing. And as you say, it's up there. It's up there with 17, isn't it? 21.
Yeah.
So you hold it in that same esteem, don't you?
And I also forgot to mention the best match on it: Kurt Angle versus HB.
Unbelievable, unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Just holds up today, doesn't it? You realise, you just realise yourself what they were able to do, and yeah, absolutely. Now, were you in LA for the whole time?
Yeah, basically LA. Went briefly out of it, some areas around it, but yeah, so it was only there Thursday to Tuesday.
Did you do Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't. No, that was just. You know what? I didn't even really look into it. I didn't think. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
We'll get to it.
I was the same for 24. We only stumbled across access because it was outdoors at Universal. You didn't know, being the first time. Literally, I did WrestleMania and Raw. That was all we did for the first one. But you realise, don't you, as you're saying, that there's.
Yeah, I didn't know all the access. I've heard of it, but it was just there. We had about an holiday, but I did meet the Undertaker at the airport. But back then, with the Nokia phones, it was this big and snake, and he couldn't take a photo. And it was just a quick shake hands, but I was like, I wish I could have had that photos ever. Was he pleasant with you at the airport? He wanted it quickly done with. He was in Hawaiian clothes. He was trying to keep, so people didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So I could do a quick autograph if you want, sir, but ain't no pen on me. Sorry, and he just took my hand. That was it.
Moving on from 21. What was the next one? And yeah, some experiences from the next one.
I've had a couple of years off. Again, I didn't know if I'd go again, but I was off to Orlando in 2008, so I wrapped up WrestleMania 24 with that. This one was completely different because I did the travel package, which I've only done once. I probably will never do again. And that included Hall of Fame, Ric Flair going in. You know how much I like Ric Flair, Jesus. You got WrestleMania ticket, and you also got to stay in the Hilton Hotel for 3 days, and you got to meet various wrestlers. It was just brilliant, and you got merchandise free. Stuff like that. It was worth it. It was. I can't remember exactly the price of it. I think it was about £400 at the time, but I think it was significantly more now. You talk about 2080.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, it's mad. It's mad I didn't meet you there. You know what I mean? That was my first.
We could have crossed paths, but this was the first one in the big stadium, wasn't it? So it's like the proper WrestleMania, is it?
What did you think? What did you think of the stadium just, extending off that? Because they did, it was regarded as a bit of a toilet, wasn't it, the stadium? But I think once they decorated it and WWE do what they do, it did look decent, I felt.
It wasn't the greatest thing, because obviously you can compare it to others, but at the time, I don't think it was as bad as people made out. I thought the area walking to it wasn't very desirable.
No, you have to be careful. You have to be careful around there. We got told, like probably yourself, or you judged it yourself by what you could see. We got told to be careful around there. So yeah, it was. You just have to be careful, don't you?
I should have maybe got a cab, but yeah, you did. It looked very like the San Andreas sort of. Thinking of going for the Toto game, I thought, what the hell are we going to? You don't see that on TV with Orlando, do you? But anyway, it is what it is.
What else did you do within the travel package? Obviously, people will be listening to this that have never done a WrestleMania but would love to do it. So, you doing the travel package, paying the extra to do it. What were some of the highlights from that? from your
You
memory?
got outside of wrestling, well, regards wrestling, I got to meet loads of wrestlers. Big Show, Mark Henry, I was sat on the sofa with him, actually. You got to meet loads of them in autograph signings, but it also included other things in the area. So you got 2-day pass at Universal Studios. So I'm guessing, depending where city you go, they will give things like travel passes to certain, tours and things. Yeah, it's worth doing for people. I wouldn't not, I prefer what we've always done, our own way, but it is worth people doing it this way if you want everything started.
No, it's good advice, that, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know how I'm booking this, I don't know how I'm booking that. I know it's going to cost significantly more, but I think if you're going to do it for a first time, it might be feasible, mightn't it? And also, if you're going on your own, if you're not traveling with somebody else, I think the travel package route is good for anyone who wants to do WrestleMania.
I think, if you're going on your own, because you're guaranteed to meet new people when you're queuing up for these autograph signings, and they do put you with other people, you know what I mean? And also, I think if you've got kids, maybe it's quite good because you've got quite infrastructure where to take them. And
Absolutely. Now, moving on. Now, I didn't go to this, but obviously Houston, WrestleMania 25. I watched with my cousin from home. I was absolutely gutted. I know you were in attendance, and you got to meet some of the lads that then went on to become Team WrestleMania UK. So, yeah, just on to Houston and how that was, and just some standout moments from Houston, I think, mate.
Well, we had a problem using Johnson.
I was waiting for a Perrett one-liner there.
Yeah, I met somebody at WrestleMania 24 egged me on to go to Houston. I'm not really, talking too much now, but then I met, again, and obviously when I got mates, he was at a petrol station in downtown Houston. We gave him a lift. And from there, that opened the doors to us being friends in the future. But regards Houston, yeah. Again, I thought it wasn't the greatest WrestleMania ever, was it? You know what I mean? But the setup of it was brilliant. The stadium was quite close to the downtown. It was only a 15-minute drive. And I went to a lot more things that year. I went to the Access, Raw. So I didn't go to Raw 24. It was a huge mistake. I went to Raw. I think I went to a Ring of Honor show as well. So I got to do more things that way. And it was easily accessible. And the Mania itself, was built on the Undertaker Shawn Michaels match, wasn't it, really, to be honest?
Absolutely. So, yeah, just... How was Ring of Honor? We can extend off WrestleMania. Doing that, because a lot of people now, obviously, there's that many shows on WrestleMania week now. It's gone crazy, hasn't it? The amount of stuff that goes on WrestleMania week outside of the WWE. But yeah, the Ring of Honor show. How was that? Bits that you can remember?
It was good, actually. Yeah, it was good. I can't remember everyone who was on it, but I remember Nigel McGuinness talking to him, because I actually met him at one PW event 2 weeks before. I was speaking to him in Doncaster. He goes, "Oh, I thought I recognised your face." We got talking, and it was a good show. And that was at a convention centre. And I was amazed by the moves they did back then, you know what I mean? How different it was to the WWE product. So I was aware of that, but from seeing it live, it was very edgy.
How much drinking was there that week with the lads as well? Was it...
Not a quarter to what we do now, mate. I mean, the people I'm with want the drinkers. I maybe got 2 days drinking, but not a quarter to that. Delivery was worse than the other one.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked with that. I thought they'd be partying all the time, but yeah, just yeah. Did you feel you were just going to carry on going? Obviously, that's quite a lot that we've covered there so far, and there's more to cover, of course.
Oh, already.
But
I was open to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the year after, I booked to go to Thailand on other trips. Regards, we're going into WrestleMania 26. It was like October time that year. I was still speaking to Anthony, who I met there the year before, and I thought, do I go, don't I? And I thought, you know what, I'll go again. But I didn't know what to expect with the Phoenix one. Guess what? You can fill us in there, but you and everyone else.
We turn up. I'll be very brief because it's about you this episode. We turn up, me and my dad, jet lagged to hell, right? I wasn't used to it because I hadn't gone that far, over. You're on the west. We're on the west side of the country virtually, aren't you? Being in Arizona, but we went to bed. Yeah. We went to bed at 5, 6 o'clock the night before. And we weren't up to till the next morning at it was 6 a.m. or something. It was sunrise, but then it was later that day that we met you guys, wasn't it? We were in the bar, and
that's right.
You saw the Everton shirts, so yeah, that got us talking, didn't it? And I still say it's fate that we all met. I still maintain that.
Well, you look at all the trips I did with Wayne, who you met as well. There,
yes.
Things that's gone from. And actually, it's dead now. I was meeting the other 2 guys there, but after that, I thought I might be leave WrestleMania to WrestleMania 30 now, unless something it's at one that I really want to go to. Do you know what I mean? In location. But then I met you all, and we all just did it, didn't we? And Phoenix there wasn't much to do in Phoenix, was there?
No, we went into like Scottsdale, didn't we? I'd gone over to Glendale to the mall another day with Dad. So yeah, it was kind of like you had to go elsewhere because it was small, wasn't it? The city centre. It was very business. It was very much set up for like businesses and stuff, wasn't it? Big companies, definitely. More so.
But like I say, if people are listening about Phoenix, there's nothing wrong with the place, was it?
No. We had a great holiday. The hotel was good. The weather was fantastic. But yeah.
People really. But again, as well with tickets, regard that we got all our own off Ticketmaster, you know what I mean? Got my own for Mania. That's easiest way. I mean, there's people probably listening now and you get tickets, but simple enough, isn't it? Just go on Ticketmaster.com. And to be honest, you never miss out on WrestleMania tickets, do you? They're not sellouts what they bunk out to be, are they? No.
I mean, but that stadium, I've got to be fair, that stadium was a good, if we're going to look at some positives, the University Stadium was amazing, wasn't it, where it was?
And the location nearby it, the Glendale's that big mall area and bars and restaurants. I think I give that venue about 9 out of 10. That was the best one up to then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you had an arena next door to it, and Paul McCartney's playing at the same time as WrestleMania. only in America, isn't it, that you could have two events on with nearly 100,000 people in the same area, and there's two totally different things going on in entertainment.
That's it. He spread his wings that night, didn't he? They knew what they were doing, didn't they?
Some people are going to be wondering about these one-liners, but yeah, this is Tom's shtick, as it were. Yeah, you'll get the innuendo and one-liners from him, absolutely. But yeah, we did a lot of drinking that week. I think we can focus on the drinking. That was a crazy amount. And I remember the last night we had an early flight the next day. And we needed to get to bed earlier than we did, but it was like 3 a.m, maybe a bit later going to bed. And we had to be up at like half 5, 6 o'clock, me and Dad, and a connecting flight in Philadelphia where we had like 6-7 hour wait. It was that was a test of endurance for the drink, wasn't it?
It was, but worth every minute. And it was a solid Mania, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. A lot of people moan about 26. But I think it doesn't get enough, enough positive light towards it, really.
I don't think it's like going to go down as the best one ever, but there wasn't much bad on the card either. It was just solid, wasn't it, and consistent.
Absolutely. Just obviously, was it what I'll go around to Undertaker and Michaels, because obviously you saw match number 1, which I still maintain 25 was the better match, but it was different. They did it different, didn't they, with 26, the way they put it together, to be fair to them, in a lot of respects.
But again, it was still a very good match.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking away from it, but I think 25 was better, the better of the two.
You had to put the edge with Shawn Michaels retiring, well, till we said it's Mr. Arabia, but that's a different story. But did that match, and I think that's what they had to have, the edge. They couldn't just have another rematch, could they? They had to have that retirement stipulation, didn't they? And title. Or was it for title, I believe it?
No, it was career versus street, wasn't it? 26.
Yeah, that's it. That's Triple H showed us, wasn't it? Actually, I remember.
But it got us talking. It got us talking the whole, the days before, didn't it? We were wondering how are they going to book it. It was very half and half, wasn't it? With it, with will he drop his streak, or is Michaels going?
He got the old. So I think before then, like the other main is you knew Undertaker wasn't going to lose. Like you look at Mark Henry match and things like that. But this one, you generally believe it could go the other way, But then they built on that for the next few years to come, in as we'll get to. Absolutely,
yeah. And then we moved on to Atlanta, Georgia for 27. And we stayed out. We were a little bit out, weren't we? But we were using the subway, the train, the tram, weren't we? So it was pretty. Yeah. We were still in a pretty good location, and it was all, the city centre was very close, wasn't it? And the stadium.
Oh yeah, right in downtown, wasn't it as well?
Yeah.
It's a new name now, ain't it? I believe they've changed the name. But I liked Atlanta. I thought the people were friendly. There's a lot of good things to do as well. Attractions outside of wrestling, weren't there?
Yeah, we did. Coca-Cola World. We did the Olympic Centennial Park, didn't we, as well?
CNN News. There's all that. People ever get a chance to go to that one.
I think talk about the sightseeing a bit more, because obviously this is where people think, you just go out there to go and do the wrestling, but it's so intense, and it's even more intense now, isn't it? The amount of stuff WWE do in a week and the length of it. 2 nights and all that. But yeah, some of the extend off that with like Coca-Cola World in the Centennial Park.
Yeah, the Georgia Aquarium, which is the biggest aquarium in the world.
Yes, sorry, I forgot about that.
There was that, and there was, if you're movie buff, there was Gone with the Wind, all those museums for that, you know, Deep South, things like that. I think they had plenty of things to do, because there's people that don't like wrestling much that may go with friends just for the experience of it. You know, they don't want to be going to all accesses or WE, you know, convention centres. So it's good to look at things, what the city's got available for you, you know, location. It's a way of seeing places as well. Like, a lot of people wouldn't go to Atlanta, would they? It's not really.
No.
It's not advertising UK, is it, really? But
it was good. It's good, obviously. They'd had the Olympics in '96. So, you know, all the stuff they did for that and what they built and things. It was good for, you know, a lot of people say, oh, there's not enough history in America and stuff like that. But I know you like sightseeing and history and stuff.
Well, they got history, like, obviously what Europe's got, but if you look at the Atlanta and the South region, we'll get onto New Orleans later, but that kind of area, there's more influence, wasn't there, with the people that came over.
And the people were exceptionally nice in Atlanta as well, weren't they? They couldn't do enough for you, and they say Southern hospitality, and this is what I say to people, you know, some of the friendliest people were in Atlanta.
I think so, yeah, definitely. It was all open. You didn't feel any threat from anyone, did you?
No.
It was very, like, happy was there.
Really good. Now, moving on to an event actually that was in Miami, which is still held in high regard today, WrestleMania 28. Now, I didn't go to this, but how was that for you? How was it going back to Florida?
I think it will work well. The thing I like about WrestleMania 28 was the being there factor to TV, because a lot of people was very highly critical of the Rock versus John Cena match and also other matches on the card, but this one showed how good Mania is there to be there in person. The crowd was just electric. You know, the Rock Cena match was just, the crowd, everyone just pulled in. And from the first thing with Sheamus and Bryan, that ended in a few seconds, didn't it? That, you know, you knew, the crowd just felt it, put it that way. But I liked Miami, yeah. It was a good vibe. And also, that was like a holiday. You had the beach, you could chill out if you wanted to. I did a lot less wrestling stuff there, really. I didn't bother with access or anything. I basically just went to Mania Raw, and I did go to the Hall of Fame. I didn't fall asleep for that one, by the way.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels went into it, didn't he, that year?
It can be repetitive. You're saying like not doing the access and stuff like that, and then you've met like you'll meet the same people normally who are on the following year, you know, to meet them, won't you, as well? So it kind of it was probably nice for you just not to have that for a year.
I discovered WrestleCon that year because this guy who knew he was going there, and he told me about it, and I went, I'll go. And I absolutely loved WrestleCon. We could explain more another time, but that was a brilliant thing. And it was completely more laid back to access, you know what I mean?
It's a good, they've grown that. That's massive now. I saw last week that they were running it in Dallas, and the amount of people you can meet there now is crazy. It's it's gone from strength to strength, absolutely. So yeah, Miami was a nice holiday for you in closing.
Yeah, definitely. You obviously got all the Florida, you had the day trips on there, the Everglades and that. And it was I'd say Miami was probably the best holiday. You get what I mean? You could relax as well.
Absolutely. I know you like
a lot, but there just weren't as many as went that year, I don't believe.
No, there was only 4 of you for that one, which it was looking back, that's crazy because look how many of us were going. You know, I'm trying to think how many we the most where there was the most of this, was it like 10 people, maybe more?
Yeah, there was about 10, then there's other people we met, weren't there? So
yeah,
he was kind of then we'll carry on with it in the future, and we did, didn't we?
Now I returned in 2013, and it was obviously WrestleMania 27, and we were outside of New York, weren't we? The hotel was in New Jersey, but yeah, the 2027, how was that for you?
Initially, I didn't really want to go. I'm not going to publicly slate New York, but it's not my favourite city in America. It's definitely worth going, but I thought I'd rather save my money for WrestleMania 30 the year after, build it up, and maybe do a SummerSlam. But my friend, as you know, passed away. He wanted to go to New York, New Jersey, which made it a special trip for sentiment, and we went and made a really good laugh, didn't we? And good time.
No, we did have a good time. Yeah, it was hard work going to Madison Square Garden, I found, and stuff, because we had to go. You know, you were traveling a lot, and we travelled. Some of us travelled by bus to places, but I was using taxis a lot that week. I mean, we were splitting the taxi, but a taxi came at a premium there. It was a lot. It was a lot of money, but that was the problem, wasn't it? There was events going on in New Jersey, and then they had stuff at like Madison Square Garden as well. So
that's the thing, yeah. You was tailing back. You could either stop in New York, but then from New York, you was rushing back to New Jersey. Say for Mania, and Raw was in New Jersey, one at Izod Center, which is now knocked down. So either way, you were damned if you do or you didn't, I suppose. But, much as we complained about it, they did another one there, 35, didn't they, a few years ago? So
they seem to. This is what they seem to do now. They have like 3, 4, 5 years, and they go back, don't they, to the same location?
That's what's lost its edge with us, isn't it? But I suppose that's another story. But yeah, but still, overall, it wasn't a very great Mania, was it? I thought they really strung it together. I mean, the Rock Cena Part 2 didn't do anything. Ryback versus Mark Henry, we joke about how great that one was, but I'm not going to slag that. I don't know. There weren't many great matches. I'm trying to think. Undertaker Punk was a good match, wasn't it?
That stole the show. That, I think, looking back in retrospect, that should have been the final match. But obviously, you got your title matches and stuff. But yeah, it was the build up to that as well, wasn't it? With Paul Bearer passing. That's Punk really. It was quite close to the bone, but. It sold it, and it was Punk was having match of the night every year. I felt, for quite some time.
It was definitely at his peak then, when I put it that way.
Yeah. And then lo and behold, we get to the following January, and he's gone, isn't he? He's gone, but that's, like you say, it's another story for another day. But yeah, 27 as well. It was freezing in that stadium that night.
It was, yeah.
Baltic in there, man.
Yeah, it was like 0. It was like, -1, wasn't it? He dropped up one bit, and we wasn't even wrapped up. We should have looked into it better earlier. I thought it won't be that bad in April, but it was.
when you can only drink one beer, which is what happened to me and Dad, that tells you everything about us lot, bloody hell. But then I think it just the following day, it was sunny. I remember on the following day, it was lovely.
Once sun was out, you were fine, but other than that, you was very exposed to elements. But see how it world, innit, I suppose. But yeah. It was, when I first did it, I mean, I thought it was a crazy location weather-wise with no roof, but New York's going to be always a big seller, isn't it, for Mania?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know you're going to like this. It was the first of 2 trips that you've had to New Orleans. So we're now on 30. We're now on WrestleMania 30, which I think is one of the best ones I've been to. I hold it in that high esteem. So yeah, the first trip for yourself to New Orleans, I've only been the once, but yeah, New Orleans, the place, I think, firstly, Tom, just like how it was for you.
If you go to America, I'd say number 1 place to go is New Orleans, personally. There's other places too, but definitely New Orleans, because I'd have something for everyone. The vibrancy of it with the, with WrestleMania being on and everything, with the Mardi Gras set up. Bourbon Street, that's the word I'm looking for. And Frenchman Street was absolutely rammed, wasn't the people's party?
It was amazing.
The drinking scenes, you could go drink and go party, but there was loads of places to eat. But on the other hand as well, if you was just a tourist but just wanted to do activities and sightseeing, New Orleans had so much to do. And it's such a small city, there was something for everyone. It was like the Everglades trip, there was crocodile things there. There was a steamboat paddle. Yeah. There's also World War II Museum being put in there now. You had something you could do all the time, and it's very easy to walk around it. You could walk around in 20 minutes to downtown. And I think that's, for me, was the best place I've been to, and definitely the best Mania experience. I mean, I said earlier about 21, but the holidays and everything else with it weren't as good as New Orleans.
As a whole, it's right up there, and I think everyone who's been, and out of our group, would still say it's probably at the top. So yeah, just it was. You can walk to the stadium, you can walk to the arena for the other events. So yeah, it was that was a heavy. I'm trying to think how many nights we were there. I think I was there 5 nights.
I actually did 8 days in there, I think. So we did more after Mania finished. We did more just day trips elsewhere. But yeah, I came back. I knew about it. Put it that way. It was
Oh my days! Yeah. So the event, obviously, just a few highlights from WrestleMania 30 for yourself. I think I know where you're going to go with this, but yeah.
The Shield match, 30 seconds, joking. No, let's think of the main event. Obviously, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, sorry. Everyone's going to say that out of the streak. I remember looking around, people leaving stadium when he lost, you know what I mean? You was like looking at the screen thinking, am I reading 21-1? I can't describe it. It's like a death. It was just, I And to be there was unreal, wasn't it? 'Cause you went on Twitter, not so much Instagram back then, but Facebook. It seemed like the whole world was talking about it, you know?
It's mad that
it was in the venue. It was just
mad that it's predetermined, but yeah, I go back to, I've said it time and time again. I've never known energy sap from a stadium with like 70, 80,000 in there. You could hear a pin drop, couldn't you, when he pinned him for that?
It was like somebody texting you somebody's died or something drastic's really happened, and everyone just like a click stop. Because it was quite really good atmosphere, wasn't it, as well, until but taking that out of it, I thought it was a very good WrestleMania. It was a powerful WrestleMania with that, and the Daniel Bryan match was absolutely fantastic. It was just great.
It was great that he had to beat Triple H first to get into the triple threat, and you know the authority storyline. That when you look back on that, that was such a prevalent thing, wasn't it? And you know he was amazing, wasn't he? He was right at the height of his powers, Daniel Bryan.
It was. And the Daniel Bryan Triple H match itself really could have headlined the pay-per-view, and it wouldn't have been a bad match at all.
No, it was very good. What a story they told in that one. You know, the underdog against the heir of the promotion, and it was just amazing, man.
We won't go into like probably what WWE is now with the storylines. I mean, that's what I think they're lacking. But that how you say how to string that together, that was absolutely perfect. Right, and I nailed it.
We take it for granted, don't we? You know, when you look back at the time, you probably weren't thinking, but now what they do, but it's just so good, the storytelling of that.
Very much so, yeah. And yeah, it was a very good Mania, wasn't it? It's probably one of the best of all time, you know what I mean, that one. Just so much power to it, wasn't there?
Now we're going to move on. We're going to Dallas now, I'm right in saying.
Yeah, my streak obviously just gone through 24 to 30. When I missed the 31, you know how devastated I was. I was in Cape Verde, wasn't I, at the same time?
Yes.
I wanted to change. I missed probably the best WrestleMania of all time in 31. And I later got to San Francisco and San Jose, didn't I, a couple of years later. But I was devastated. But anyway, let's get to 32.
Yeah, Dallas, it's obviously Texas is massive. We know this. I'm trying to think how far the stadium was, AT&T. From there, was it about 35, 40 minutes from us?
It was quite a distance, yeah. You look at 30 miles, as I said, at least. And that was that's what was a problem with it, I thought, you know, the distance of it. I mean, Raw and everything else was in City Centre, wasn't it, in Dallas, downtown. But yeah, it was a good 30 miles, so if you didn't have transport to get there and back, you was a bit snookered, you know what I mean?
We were lucky with the group we had, the amount we could split the travel, couldn't we? When we were all together doing it. It was, but yeah, it's hard if you're on your own, if you're not on a package, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's conundrum, do you stop in Arlington or Dallas? Because there wasn't much, Arlington was there really, you couldn't really stop there. Well, you could stop there, but you want a great deal there, so what do you do? So I think, you know, that could have been awkward for people last week as well. I mean, not as many have gone this year because of COVID restrictions.
It was like 78,000 each night, wasn't it? Whereas they reckon there was 100 plus in when we went.
Yeah, but I mean more so from like European fans.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
10,000. I mean, I saw a couple of like England and Germany flags, but I think people found it hard with, you know, COVID restrictions whether to book. But yeah, regardless, I thought Dallas downtown was okay. I mean, there was the JFK Museum where we got shot. You know, that was worth seeing. It's not a bad city, but I wouldn't say it's the top of everything. And I think the year I missed the 31 really affected me. It was shocking, really. And we just couldn't rekindle that fire as much, I didn't think, in 32. It wasn't a bad holiday, but something felt missing.
And then we're going to move on.
The Mania itself.
Yeah, sorry.
The Mania itself, people criticise it a lot, but you look at the injuries you had. Bray Wyatt was out. John Cena was out. I can't remember everyone. I mean, going back years here, I think Seth Rollins was out. They made the best of a situation, what they could. I mean, because we've gone how good 30 was, 31. There was like 10, 10 out of 10, both of them probably, weren't they? They had a hard act to follow, and I think they did the best what they could.
You know, we had the Hell in a Cell, didn't we, with Shane and Taker? The Rock came out, didn't he? You know, they did that, and that's the entertainment side, isn't it? You know, you had Austin, your mate Foley, and HBK coming out as well, didn't we? For all that.
And we had AJ Jericho was okay, Matt.
Yeah, AJ was a bit hard on himself after that match. He felt that it didn't, coagulate with him. But I think it's just his high standards. He wants it, and then it led to him going into the next pay-per-view. They fought again, didn't they? But yeah, I thought it was good. I just think he wants to, exceed expectations, AJ, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. The problem was, I think they did it 4 times before that match as well, which was a bit silly, really. Could have just done it as the first one. But in general, it was all right, wasn't it? It was the best what they could do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what did you...
Stadium, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, actually. What did you think of the stadium? You know, it's the biggest one over there, and, you know, they've gone back. But I thought, yeah, the stadium was fantastic. The size of it.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as some Perth Fuel, like, but it was still a good setting, though. Do you know what I mean? You're looking down. It was right at the top one. I think I've sat in different seats, you actually.
I was like behind the rises, I think. So we were a bit elevated.
But it looked like a stadium within a stadium. It was just so big. But yeah, it's definitely one worth seeing if you go to the States. Definitely Cowboys.
And I'm going to move. Sorry, carry on. I've jumped in.
We missed one earlier as well at 30. Well, I could also do it for SWP 40, but the Superdome was an amazing venue. But we'll get on to that.
Oh my God, it's amazing! It's amazing. Yeah, and your second trip to New Orleans, it's WrestleMania 34 now, so we're going into 2018, aren't we? Your second trip over there. How was that? How was it going back to New Orleans? I know you went to Baton Rouge after as well, which isn't too far away. But yeah, going back to New Orleans for a WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, we had 33 out, didn't we? I think it was a wedding, wasn't it? A stag do. But yeah, so we had 2 years out again, and I came back. The minute you were in New Orleans, I thought, yeah, I'll go back. Again, I really enjoyed it, but it didn't have the magic of the first. I think because it was so close after, you mean you're only 4 years after? So it's like, nothing wrong with it, but it just wasn't as good as that time. I think if it had been WrestleMania 40, it'd be better.
Was it because Mardi Gras obviously fell around it the first trip, and then it wasn't? Was it for the second trip? It had been and gone, hadn't it? By the time the way it fell,
it felt like that. Yeah, Mardi Gras wasn't there, so it wasn't as crazy. But when I say that's great, it was still, there's still a lot of partying and everything else. Maybe it was too close after WrestleMania 30. But still, I'm sounding really negative. It was still a very good trip, and a lot of people went for the first Mania there, and what a time to go. The Mania 34 itself, I was on about Superdome. They actually did it out better. It was still the same venue as 30, but like the conditioning was better there. They seemed better set up for it, if that makes sense. From what mistakes I got from WrestleMania 30, they made it better at 34 with the venue. We're getting people in it in time and everything like that. And yeah, I thought Mania 34 didn't have a much standout, did it, compared to 30? It was a solid event. There was Ronda Rousey, wasn't there, and Kurt Angle. Which
is probably, if you look back, it was probably match of the night, wasn't it? To be fair.
I can't remember much of Vane versus Lesnar again. Then there was Nakamura, wasn't there, versus AJ, which could have been a lot better, but obviously I was basing it on the New Japan thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a solid event. And again, they did things in New Orleans I didn't do the first time, like the World War Museum. And I did more, like the Museum of Death, I did that, which is famous in LA, but I've done it in New Orleans now. And then I went on to Baton Rouge. Felt like the proper deep south there, and a great place. People are so friendly.
What else did you do in Baton Rouge? What stands out? Because it's a holiday. It is a holiday as well. A lot of people. We're trying to get this across to them, aren't we? You do the sights and all that. So yeah, Baton Rouge. Because I know you had such a great time there.
Unfortunately, we fell when the main attraction was the aircraft area, which was getting done up because there was a Tom Hanks film being filmed there.
Right, okay.
Greyhound, I think it was called.
Yes.
So you could see all the filming and shootings going off. Me and Ashley, my friend, we also walked in the convention centre, and the guy ran up and says, "What are you doing in here?" They're checking us if we had weapons, and that's we're just looking. They was like, "Oh, you're not from around here, are you?" I went, "No." He says, "No one's allowed in this building. We're shooting for this movie." Oh, sorry. He was like apologising. He apologised for having to go to us, and we made friends, but I'm trying to think, there was a big mansion we went to, a plantation house. That was very good. But the sad thing was, when we went to Baton Rouge, 90% of the attractions was closed because of filming this movie.
Oh, it's just like a case. Your timing, wasn't it? Being there, yeah.
It's woman at hotel showing you could come here 360 days a year. It's just this 5 days you've chose. But, again, everyone was curious. They'd never seen many English people or British people about, actually the strong accent for London sort of thing. Then everyone was just stopping and talking to us or listening to us when we were speaking. It was such a friendly place, and it's somewhere you wouldn't think to go, but you could make loads of friends by going there,
Absolutely. It's good. I like to get the balance. It's like I said again, it's not just going to the events. You do try and do the touristy stuff as well, which is, that's what people need to think of. I think sometimes you can do that as well. But yeah, can you see yourself going to 39 in LA next year? Is that on the horizon for you, or what's your headspace with maybe going there next year? Because it's been quite a while since you've gone.
Hoping, as I know the different story, I'm hoping to do an AEW event this year, but I'm waiting for the announcement of what location is going to be for Full Gear. So it'll be a financial thing with that. But I'd say I'm 50-50 with that. There's a good chance I could go to 39 next year because I've been wanting to do the Amtrak trip from Seattle down to LA. And I think I've got a feeling it'll be a good Mania next year as well. So yeah, I'd be interested. But if I go ahead with it, for people that haven't been, I'm just getting separate tickets, tickets to Mania and Ticketmaster. I don't think I'll even bother with it on next year. I won't be getting any packages or anything like that.
Just straight into the big one, and then it's 8 hours both nights. You've got the pre-show 2 hours each. It's so much. I'm not a fan of this 2-night thing, but I suppose if they've got the venue, you can see it from a business standpoint why they do it. But for the fans, from the fan standpoint, I'm just not in on this 2 nights. No,
I met a guy at Survivor Series actually a couple of years ago, and he went to WrestleMania, the one in Tampa, and he went to night 1. Then he thought from TV night 2 were better. It's the risk you take if you're not doing both. I mean, this year I thought night 1, I thought it was built on Austin and Undertaker. It was a good show. Whereas the second night was heavily built on entertainment. I'd been a lot more devastated to go to night 2, not 1. It's a hard thing. So for people that haven't been before, I'd suggest buying both night tickets, 1 and 2.
That's cool. And then again, see, you've got your hub then for you to go and do the other places on the Amtrak, on the train. The
Amtrak. You got the old LA as a base, haven't you? I mean, there's San Diego nearby. There's plenty of beach areas and whatever. How long
would you go for to do this? To do the sightseeing after 39? If you do go, how many?
To LA, I'd say minimum a week. Then you've got flexibility of day trips after Mania's been gone. Perfect. And also for anyone not been before, it's probably a good one to get on board with this because I mean, if you're flying from Heathrow, I know people live in various parts of the UK, but your best bet to go to America really is through London Heathrow because the flights are so much cheaper and they're direct 99% of the time. So LA, you could get flights for £300, couldn't you, easy if you're looking at it now? 400 tops.
Great advice. Great advice for people, And
there's people out there that say they can't afford a Mania, which I understand. I mean, especially now, look at the energy costs and that. People got things going on, but my advice to anyone is to try and to go to one at least once in your life. It's affordable. If you look next year, it's £300 flights. I'm saying that it could be 400, but in that scale. Mania is what you want to pay. You could pay £20 or you could pay 500. If you sat at the top in the gods, you're still going to sit on a giant screen. You're going to be there. And no matter what, you can say you've been to a Mania, where you sat, it doesn't matter.
Great.
So, I mean, you could budget and I'd say get quite a good hotel in LA because there is rough areas, I'm not going to lie. Like anywhere, you know what I mean? You could probably do that trip next year for £700 if you budgeted. You could spend that going to Spain, couldn't you? Really? Or
absolutely, yeah. When you put it, when you add it all together and estimate it, absolutely. And I think chipping away at it, do your flights, maybe book your hotel, and then the tickets aren't going up until November, are they? The actual WrestleMania tickets. It's normally November time. So if you work that out, there's how many months? 7 months until they come out. In them 7 months, you can box off your hotel and your flight, couldn't you? Break it down a little bit. So,
with your booking.coms now as well, you can reserve an hotel, can't you? You don't have to pay till you get there. And, this flexibility pays with PayPal now, and things like this. So, I mean, if I was somebody new with fan and you could afford it, go. I've often said, there's people I know that go to Raw and SmackDown in UK. I mean, is it April they used to do it? Then October or November. Do 4 of those shows. I don't know, they've gone London, Manchester. They've probably spent £400. Probably they've got really good tickets and gone there. Skip that off for a year. So people did that years in a row. Put that money just towards a Mania. You could see 100 Raws or SmackDown. Absolutely. I know the product's not 10 years ago it was, but not one of them were created to go into one WrestleMania. Just get it done with.
I know this is on the topic of WrestleMania and the ones you've been to, but obviously you've alluded to, you've been to the Rumble and you've been to Survivor Series. So yeah, just those experiences in closing, because I know you've been to 3 of the big 4. I'm assuming you haven't been to SummerSlam. I'm right in. No,
it's just always fallen out of an awkward time from my work, in August. And also, it's always been at the same locations until the last 3 years, hasn't it? Which big thing for me now is locations of places where I want to go. But anyway, Rumble, there's no access or anything like that. You might see a few wrestlers walking around publicly, but there isn't as much build up to it. I think if you've got a travel package, to do some things at the hotel for it, but it's a lot more low key than Mania is. So basically, you're just going there for that pay-per-view. But that can be a good thing as well, because it's more of a trip and vacation, as you know, you can do what you want to do. I attended it in San Antonio, Texas, which apart from New Orleans is my favourite place in America. It was what Texas should be. It's just so friendly and the people are fantastic. There's so much to do there, you know what I mean? And that was probably my second favourite trip. And that's the Survivor Series. I went to that in Chicago. Chicago's amazing.
We know that like that's probably the hottest crowd in America, isn't it? Because you know they say about the New York crowd, but yeah, man, you go into the All State to watch Survivor Series there, man. I'm jealous of that. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. And Chicago, if anyone's not been, it's a city, but it's like a village as well. People all talk to. It's friendly as hell. You can just, if you look like you're lost, somebody will help you find somewhere. You don't get that feeling in many cities in the world. You know what I mean? That's
amazing. And just a couple of matches from each that stand out that you remember fondly before we go.
There was John Cena versus AJ 2017. That's going to be the main one. And obviously the Rumble itself was a good one out of the year. You got like Goldberg in it. You got Undertaker. There's a lot of the roster was in it, if I remember right. You know, it was a very star-studded one. Survivor Series, going back, it was the actual NXT one. The team NXT was facing SmackDown.
Yes.
Keith Lee really stood out. And look, he's jumped ship now, as you know, but Keith Lee really stood out, and that was a standout for me in that show.
Amazing, great. Like, no, thank you for doing this. You know, we've been friends since 2010. And, you know, just the trips together, I couldn't think of a better bunch of guys, you know, and it's also the stuff like the live stuff we've done when we've met up after. I know I've dropped out of a few things that we've done in the UK over the years, but for the most part, I've been to many of them. But then also, you know, the weddings, we've had the stag do's on top. It's amazing, you know, what 2010 led to for us lot as a friendship group.
It's something, I mean, I will go to others now, but said if I didn't go to one again, we've got memories that we're never going to lose, are we? You know what I mean? Absolutely.
My guest and fellow Team WrestleMania UK trip friend, pal, good friend is Tom Perrett, all the way from Yorkshire in the UK, in England, about 2.5 hours away from here, I would say, which, if any Americans are listening and viewing, 2.5 hours to them is nothing.
No, it's nothing, but to us it seems like the edge of England's Wales is the universe.
Thank you for sharing your WrestleMania trip memories. Thank you. Thank you, mate. What an episode that was. Fantastic. A true friend of mine is Tom, and it was amazing to get him on. So much experience of going to WrestleMania, and I'm sure it's going to help some people who haven't been to WrestleMania. I know a lot of people said they want to go, so yeah, I just hope you enjoyed drawing off his experiences. And as we said, you know, take the plunge, book a WrestleMania trip, you know, whether that be with Wrestling Travel, where everything is booked for you. You know, you can do it. There's so many ways of doing it. We booked everything individually, but I would implore you, if you were going out on your own, maybe go with Wrestling Travel, because you're going to buddy up with people, because we all love pro wrestling. So yes, thank you very much to Tom. And the next episode is coming out very, very soon. It is part 2 with Justin Clapper. I'll see you soon.